Hello all. So through this video, we'll be seeing in detail about the landfill gas generation and what are the different types of gases that are normally generated out of the landfill system, and what are the different ways to manage those gases which are collected out of the landfill system. So the two main parameters that we have to manage, which are collected out of the landfills and which we have to manage are the leachate and the landfill gases, which are generated and collected out of the landfill system. Now, landfill gases are generally generated or produced as a result of waste biodegradation. Okay. Now, talking about biodegradation, it can happen due to many factors. I mean, many factors influence the biodegradation processes. Um, Many environmental factors also influence this biodegradation process, and mostly these degradation would happen either in the presence of oxygen, then we call it aerobic degradation, or it can be in the absence of oxygen and we call it anaerobic degradation, or it can be um, it can happen either in the presence of oxygen or in the absence of oxygen. That's called as a facultative degradation. Okay, so the bacteria which can survive in aerobic, anaerobic and facultative conditions will carry out the respective types of degradation process. Okay, and as a result of degradation there will be different types of gases which will be emanating out of the landfill system, and we will normally have gas collection pipes embedded within the cover system to collect these gases, okay, and to monitor them on a periodic basis to see that their levels are also under acceptable limits or not. Okay, and out of the gases generated, the predominant gases are methane and carbon dioxide, and there will be other gases also as byproducts which are generated, but it is this level of methane which has to be under control, because normally within the landfill system itself, if the if the methane quantity exceeds 5 to 15 percentage, it is actually considered to be in the explosive range. Okay. But that can only be in the explosive range provided there is sufficient oxygen also, but if there is no sufficient oxygen, then this methane will not be there will not be any possibility of any explosion. But if the methane find its way into the surrounding air and mixes with it, then it can be a slightly dangerous thing. So we will always have to monitor the level of these gases produced within the landfill system and have to take suitable precautionary measures. Now, when the waste degradation happens and the different types of gases are produced, actually, with respect to age, um, the decomposition stage also varies. Okay, so basically, an older landfill and a newer landfill will be at different stages of decomposition, and therefore the quality and the quantity of gases which are generated out of this newer and the older landfill will also be different. Okay, but in generally, if we see, there are various phases of decomposition which are taking place in each landfill system. Okay, and we normally divide that waste decomposition process into four phases. Okay, so in every landfill, this four definitely the waste would go through these four phases of decomposition, and at each phase you will have a the gases generated, the quantity, quality, everything will be different. Okay, and there has to be suitable conditions favorable for the necessary reaction to take place in each of these phases. And as I said, each landfill will be at a different stage of decomposition, and therefore the quantity and quality is dependent on the age of the landfill. That is, at what stage of decomposition it is. Now, this chart here shows you the variation of the quantities of different gases with respect to each phase. So, we normally have four phases of waste decomposition. Now, phase 1 is mostly, it is predominantly aerobic degradation of waste which is taking place in phase 1, and from phase 2 onwards it is anaerobic degradation of waste. So that means that by the end of phase 1, your oxygen will be almost depleted. Okay, because then only phase 2 can start. If there is still oxygen present, this air, there is a chance of aerobic reaction itself to be continued. But until the oxygen is depleted, that is the time up to which your phase 1 will be continuing. Okay, so you can see from this graph that phase 1 is actually aerobic. Phase 1 is the time when aerobic degradation takes place, and it utilizes the oxygen completely for the degradation to happen. And by the end of phase 1, the oxygen amount will be almost depleted. Okay, then comes and during the phase 1 itself, you can see that the carbon dioxide level has started rising. Okay, but whereas the nitrogen level, okay, at the start of these waste degradation process, the nitrogen level will be quite high, but once the degradation process starts, the nitrogen level will slowly start depleting, and it will come into a very lower range by the end of all four phases. Okay, but we can see that the predominant gases here which increases to high levels are carbon dioxide and methane by the end of these four phases. Now we will see individually how in each phase the landfill gases are generated or what process takes place. Now, in the phase 1, so phase 1 is that is at the start of the waste decomposition process. Okay, so at the start of these processes, there will be ample amount of oxygen present in the landfill. Okay, obviously the amount of oxygen present in a landfill will depend upon how loosely or densely you have packed your waste material within the landfill system. That will obviously will have an influence on the amount of oxygen present. But anyhow, there will be oxygen present before the start of or at the start of these waste decomposition processes. So that is the time when the aerobic bacteria will come into picture, and it will start down the degradation process in the presence of oxygen. Okay. So these aerobic bacteria will start consuming the organic waste. So what they will do is they will break down the complex chains of carbohydrates, proteins and lipids contained within this organic waste, and they will convert that into equivalent products. Okay, and we have seen in the chart that from phase 1 onwards your carbon dioxide level will start increasing and your nitrogen level will start decreasing. Okay, at the start of phase 1 there will be high nitrogen content, but once this degradation process starts, the nitrogen content slowly starts reducing. Okay, so this phase 1 will continue until all of the oxygen is completely consumed for the process. Once the oxygen is depleted completely, then the phase 1 will not occur. Okay, the aerobic decomposition will be over uh, once the oxygen is completely depleted. Now, once the oxygen is depleted, phase 2 will start. Okay. If there is oxygen still present, then phase 1 will continue. Once the oxygen is completely depleted, then phase 2 will start. Then aerobic bacteria cannot act anymore. Then in the absence of oxygen, your anaerobic bacteria will start acting, and it will initiate the decomposition processes. Okay. So what this anaerobic bacteria will do is that they will work on the products created by the aerobic bacteria. Okay, so aerobic bacteria had created some products during their decomposition process. So this anaerobic bacteria in the phase 2 will act on these products created by aerobic bacteria, and then they will convert those products into acetic acid, lactic acid, formic acids, and also into alcohols like methanols and ethanols. Okay. So basically, you can see that now the landfill has become quite acidic here due to the presence of acids and alcohols. Okay, so some of these acids will mix with water and will further dissolve the other nutrients. Okay, so at this stage of phase 2 also, your carbon dioxide level is increasing. Okay, and your there will be as a byproduct there will be hydrogen gases also formed during this phase. Okay, your nitrogen level is still continuing to decrease during phase 2 as well. But if through some means oxygen is introduced back into your landfill system, then phase 1 will again start. Okay, whenever there is presence of oxygen, there will be aerobic decomposition. So in some way or the other, if oxygen is introduced back into your landfill system, then phase 1 will again start. So in the first phase, the bacteria, the complete utilization of oxygen would happen, and aerobic bacteria will take down will carry out the degradation process. Once the oxygen is completely consumed up, then the phase 2 will start, where anaerobic bacteria will come into picture, and they will start producing acids and alcohols. Okay. So then the landfill environment will become quite acidic. Now, in phase 3, what will happen is certain types of anaerobic bacteria will act on these acids and convert them. Okay, like organic acetic acid will be converted into acetate. So what happens is that the environment within the landfill will become quite neutral by then. Okay, and in this neutral environment, a new bacteria would start establishing themselves. That will be methane producing bacteria. Okay, so now there is acid producing bacteria and methane producing bacteria, which has a symbiotic relationship with each other. Okay, because they can coexist with each other. Both of them will produce, or they will do some work which are mutually beneficial to each other. Like methane producing bacteria will consume some acids which in too much quantities can destroy the acid producing bacteria, and acid producing bacteria will make some compounds for the methane producing bacteria to survive. So likewise they will coexist by helping each other out. Okay, so by the end of phase 3, almost all of your waste degradation process would have been completed, and by the start of phase 4, all the gas production will become relatively constant. Okay, this is a remain. Okay, gas production, landfill gas will remain relatively constant by the start of phase 4. Okay, so by then your carbon dioxide and methane would have reached up to the level of 45 to 60 percentage, and there would be other gases also produced in meager quantities. Okay, now so by the end of phase 4, everything would become constant. Gas production, gas release would still happen for the next 20 years or so, but still that quantity produced will be, gas emissions will be there, but the quantity produced will be more or less same, or it will remain constant. Now this table here shows you the percentage by volume in which the different gases will be present in your landfill system due to the waste degradation. So the more highly prominent gases are obviously methane and carbon dioxide. So methane is a naturally occurring gas. It is colorless, odorless, and landfills are the single largest source of man-made methane emissions. Okay. Then you will have carbon dioxide, which will be at the next higher level from landfills. Okay. And then you will have in small quantities, you will have nitrogen, oxygen, ammonia, then non-methane organic compounds, sulfides, hydrogen, carbon dioxide. Okay, these are also the byproducts of this waste degradation process. So now let's look at the various factors which affect the landfill gas production. So there is waste composition. Obviously, the type of the waste will influence the quality and quantity of landfill gases which are produced from it. And more, it's basically dependent on the amount of organic waste which is present, because that promotes biodegradation, and due to biodegradation, landfill gases are generated. So the more the organic waste, the more will be the landfill gases produced out of it. Now the second factor is age of refuse or age of the waste. That is obviously a recently buried landfill will be at a different stage of decomposition compared to a older landfill. Okay, So we have already seen there are different four phases of waste decomposition. So all the different types of all the different landfills will be at different phases or stages of decomposition depending on their age. Okay, so at each stage of these decomposition, the amount of the quality and the quantity of gases generated will also be different. So this is age dependent. Now, presence of oxygen in the landfill. So the first phase, that is the aerobic phase, starts only when there is enough oxygen available within the um, landfill waste fill within the waste fill. If there is no and that will depend upon how loosely or tightly densely you have compacted the waste deposit within the landfill system. If it's loosely packed, then comparatively loosely packed, then there will be ample amount of oxygen, then phase 1 can start and then the other phases will follow. But if there is no sufficient oxygen available at the beginning of the process, then maybe some other bacteria will come into picture, some other type of anaerobic bacteria will come into picture and start the waste decomposition process. Then moisture content. So moisture content and temperature are factors which influence your bacterial growth and the bacterial process of biodegradation. So basically these moisture content is what helps the bacteria to grow and for it to get the sufficient nutrients to thrive in the landfill environment. So the more the no moisture content, the more degradation will happen. I mean, bacteria will be able to carry out the degradation process more effectively. Then regarding temperature, usually at high temperatures, the bacterial activity will be more. So there will be more of biodegradation happening at higher temperatures compared to that of lower temperatures or colder climates. Okay. Now, landfill gas collection systems. So the landfill gases which are generated within the waste fill has to be collected out of it. Okay, so there are different types of gas collection systems. That is basically you will be embedding gas collection wells within the cover system to collect these gases. So there are basically two types of gas collection systems, that is passive gas collection system and active gas collection system. So the first type of gas collection system that can be embedded within the cover system is the passive gas collection system. Now here it is shown as landfill liners, but this is actually the cover system that they have shown here, and you have the waste lying below the cover system. Okay, and you have seen that at the last part of the cover system you will have a gas vent layer. So that is where these collection wells will be installed. Okay, so usually these collection wells are nothing but they are plastic wells or pipes, and that too slotted. Okay, these are slotted plastic pipes embedded and taken up to depths of 50 to 90% of the total waste thickness. Now these system works or they are mainly dependent on the pressure variation and the gas concentration existing within the landfill system. Okay, that is by the inherent pressure existing within the waste fill, the gases will be forced to collect into these gas collection wells, that is into these slotted plastic pipes, and then it will be taken out for for some purpose, for treatment of our energy recovery, for whichever use it is intended to. So basically under the pressure existing in the landfill area, this gas will be collected, forced to enter into these collection wells. Okay, so that is how this system works. We will not find any other valves or pumps here to force the gas into it. Okay, it is under the natural pressure the gas will be collected into these collection wells. And then for this to happen, actually the gases have to be properly contained within the waste fill. And how that can be achieved? For that we have to properly contain the gases produced within or between the liner systems provided at the bottom and the sides. Also at the top it will be confined by the cover system. So these gases will be pressurized, and due to this it will be forced to get collected into these collection wells. Okay, but if somehow this is disturbed, then the efficiency of this system is lost. Okay, if there is no pressure, enough pressure build up within the waste fill, and if the gases are not properly contained within the waste fill, then the gases cannot naturally enter these passive gas collection systems. Okay, then the efficiency of these type of systems will be affected. Okay, and when you are installing these gas collection wells, either you can install horizontal wells or vertical wells. Okay, now vertical gas wells can be installed either after the complete construction of a landfill or after a portion of the landfill is completed. Okay, whereas horizontal wells will be installed during the process of construction of landfill itself. That is when you have, suppose in the case of deep landfills and all, when you need to recover gases immediately, then you can construct horizontal wells as and when you construct the landfills. Okay. So, in the case of a passive gas collection system, the gases produced within the landfill was forced to enter the gas collection wells by means of the pressure which was naturally existing within the landfill. Whereas in active gas collection systems, you will have either horizontal or vertical gas collection wells. But in addition to these wells will also have valves and sampling pots. Okay, so these valves will help in regulating the gas flow through the pipes or wells, and also the sampling port, as you can see, the landfill operators can collect the gases generated from the sampling port, and that will help them in measuring the pressure, the concentration, the composition of the gases at periodic intervals, and they can make sufficient changes to the system accordingly. Okay, so for to monitor the gases which are collected from the collection wells, we have a sampling port provided in an active gas collection system. So this will help the operator to bring in any modification based on the requirement. Okay, so this is the difference between passive and an active gas collection system. So you will even have pumps installed that will create a low pressure in this gas collection wells, and that will help in taking these gases out of the landfill system. Okay, and the type, the size, the number of pumps to be installed, that all depends upon the amount of gas which is generated, its the concentration and everything. So for that means only we have kept a sampling port here for monitoring the gases on a periodic basis. Okay. So efficiency of a gas collection system will depend upon the valves, the pumps provided within the system that will help in taking out the gases collected from the gas collection wells to the outside of the landfill system. Okay. So now let's look into the different methods by which we can um, collect and treat or manage the landfill gases. Okay, so in some passive gas collection systems, the gases collected from the landfills are directly vented out into the atmosphere. Okay, but that is acceptable when the gas concentrations are like really low and they are within the acceptable limits and there are no people residing nearby. Okay, then that is okay to some extent. But if the gas concentrations are really high and there are some highly pollutant gases, then we cannot just directly vent it out to the atmosphere. Then we have to bring in some other technologies to manage to treat these gases. Okay, so one of the most commonly used techniques is combustion of landfill gases. So by means of combustion, you're just burning off the landfill gases which has been collected out of the landfill. Now, combustion actually it is most efficient when the landfill gas contains at least 20% methane by volume. Because if it contains 20% methane by volume, then this can form a very combustible mixture with the ambient air, and then only a light ignition is needed to burn off the gases. But if then sufficient methane is not there, then we'll have to bring in some other techniques. Okay, then combustion will not be that efficient. So, the two different types of combustion techniques that we can carry out are either by open flame or by enclosed flame. Now, by open flame is a very simple design, comparatively inexpensive also. You will just have a pipe through which the landfill gases will be taken upwards, and then you will have a pilot light to spark the ignition, and then you will have a valve to control this gas flow. Okay, so it's a very simple design here. But the disadvantage is that because it's an open flame, there will be aesthetic complaints. There will be uncontrolled. There will be no monitoring happening here, and there will be sometimes health issues as well. Okay, so and therefore, to cover up the limitations of the open flames, enclosed flames came into picture. Now, enclosed flames are slightly, obviously, it is slightly expensive, and the apparatus is also um huge. It will have multiple burners enclosed within fire resistant walls. Okay, and then what do you want to just burn off these gases within these enclosed flame flares, and obviously since it's enclosed, it'll be it will be covering all the limitations that the open flame flares possessed. Okay, and some of the equipments which can carry out this enclosed flame combustion are boilers, process heaters, gas turbines, and internal combustion engines. Actually, combustion technologies has a lot of disadvantages. Primarily, it is because of the production of many dioxins such as sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, or or nitrogen oxides. Okay, so as per the Environmental Protection Agency, these are not acceptable. So therefore, we have to come for alternative techniques to combustion. So there are non-combustion technologies which are being developed. So non-combustion technologies, obviously, there are the main categories of non-combustion technologies are energy recovery and gas to product conversion. These are the two different non-combustion technologies which can be applied for the treatment of landfill gases. But whichever technique you apply, first the landfill gases has to undergo a treatment, a pre-treatment. Okay, it cannot be the gases collected directly from the landfill cannot be applied for these technologies. The gases has to be first undergoing a pre-treatment to remove impurities such as water, then non-methane organic compounds and carbon dioxide. Okay, so one of the non-combustion technologies that we can practice is energy recovery, that is based on the energy value of the landfill gas. We can recover energy from it. Okay, so there are various apparatuses which are being developed for um, converting gases into equivalent energy or utilize the energy stored in these gases. So one such apparatus is the phosphoric acid fuel cell. Now this cell will have a gas collection system, a pre-treatment system, and it will have provisions for undergoing various chemical reactions. And due to those chemical reactions, water, electricity, heat, and other waste gases will also be produced. Okay, and sometimes these waste gases will just be burned off like with the help of combustion technology. So similar to phosphoric acid fuel cells, there are other type of apparatus which are being developed for recovering energy from landfill gases. Okay, now the second form of non-combustion technology uh, is the gas to product conversion. That is, you can convert the landfill gas into some useful products like LNG, liquefied natural gas, or compressed natural gas, or purified carbon dioxide and methane. So Based on the product, the process involved for converting the gas to the particular product will also vary. Okay, so these are the two non-combustion technologies that we can apply for treating the landfill gases.